Hello and welcome back to the Fancy Cricket Coach. Today we're looking ahead to Game Week 8 and the final game week of this block of county championship fixtures. We're going to have a look at some of the general manager trends. We're going to have a look at some of the fixtures and maybe who you should target. And then we'll go through my own team, my transfer plans, my starting 11 and my captaincy picks. So thank you very much for being here. Let's get stuck straight in with the transfers in for this week. And it looks like a really good list. Abbott is in form, Holland is in form, Barnard is in form, Hamid is in form, and Kellaway is super cheap and in form. I think any one of these is a good pick, and I wouldn't be looking too far past any of these players actually. Unless you really want to go differential, a player on this list looks like a really good pickup. Not really much more to say about it other than that, really. They all look like super good picks. For the transfers out, top of the list, Johnny Bairstow. He's been called up to the IPL, and so won't be playing apart for Yorkshire this week. It's a very reasonable transfer out, especially as he won't be playing. And there's also some really good alternate keeper options, such as Bracey or Simpson. However, one thing I will say about Bairstow is there's only 1 week to go until there's a month break in the county championship. And when we return, he won't be in the IPL. The IPL will be over. So Johnny Bairstow could very much be back for Yorkshire by then. So if you really want to keep him, there is that option to leave him on the bench for just this week and save yourself the transfer of getting him out and then the transfer of getting him back in if you want him back as well. So you'll still have him when he's back if you can bench him for this week. That's the option there. Others on the list, Dawson and Jennings, they're very highly owned, but they're not in form, so pretty reasonable transfers out, I think. And O'Neill hasn't been playing for a month, so that's probably just some inactive managers updating their teams. A quick note before we move on is that England have released their Lions squad to face India A this week. And there are some big county names in there, such as James Rue, Tom Haynes, George Hill, and Sonny Baker. They played 2 games on the 30th of May and the 6th of June, which are during the blast and not the county championship, which I think is really important because I'm hoping that means that won't affect their selection for this week. Otherwise, my plans, which I'll get to in a second, are going to be a little bit affected. So I don't think there's any panic there. Maybe just something to keep an eye on when those team sheets come out in case there are some surprises. But hopefully, those England Lions selections won't affect the Cricket Draft County Championship game. So that's it for the general manager trends for the week. Who are people bringing in and out? What about the fixtures this week? What teams and maybe players should you be looking to target? Starting with the obvious, Warwickshire away to Worcestershire. Always going to be a good fixture to target, despite them actually coming out on top against Essex last week. I think it's still something we can look at. The game against Durham a couple of weeks back at New Road was extremely low scoring, and so it could be a really good place to look for bowlers. Perhaps on both sides as well. I mean, in terms of players, Ed Barnard comes to the forefront, someone who's been doing amazingly this season and could have a big part to play in the game. Oliver Hannon-Dalby with the new ball could be very effective. I'd definitely look there. And on the other side, Tom Taylor looks like a really good option too. A bowler who's averaging 26, but seems to be really spearheading that Worcestershire bowling lineup and has done pretty well in recent weeks too. So maybe a couple of players to look there as well. The only other fixture I can really see that stands out to me here is Leicestershire at home to Lancashire. Yeah, so it's sort of a top of the table versus bottom of the table clash. And so there's potential for some big points. Potential for an upset, yeah, but I think a lot of big points for Leicestershire, maybe an offer there. Lancs did look a little bit better last week against Derbyshire, but the fragility of their batting lineup, Harris aside, still looks pretty decent to target, I think. Ian Holland almost seems essential this week, and actually a really good captaincy option too, which I'll get to. Rian Ahmed could be an interesting pick too, batting up the order and bowling some spin could go very well. So I think there's a lot of good picks there. Maybe a couple of fixtures just to target, just to look at. If you're not sure about who you want to bring in this week or you want to just go for a 1 week punt before the break, maybe looking at a couple of those players in those teams is the way to go. Moving on to my own side, here are my transfer plans for the week. I'm looking to try and figure out how to get Abbott and George Hill in. And for reference, I've got my current team up here on the screen. So this is my team for Game Week 7. Now, I think Hill's a little bit easier here because I have Dawson in my team. And so I'm pretty sure I'm happy to release him, which then frees up a lot of funds as well. So Dawson to Hill is a fairly simple straight swap, I think. Now, I could have considered options such as Kellaway or Price, but I think Hill is the form pick. He's doing really well at the moment, and it seems like the smarter option. He's averaging almost nothing with the ball. His batting's not come on a lot, but I think he's just in really good form at the moment, and this week could be another week to pick up a lot of points for him. As for Abbott, it sort of leaves me with two options, I think. Jamie Porter or Matt Henry out. Now, obviously, Andy Galvin is there as well, but I think it's a completely different ball game for him because of his price. 5.4 million compared to over 8 is big. And to be honest, he's also outscored the other two anyway, so he is definitely staying. And because Dawson to Hill frees up a lot of money, I can move either way here, I think. Porter without Cook could do really, really well, but he hasn't been outstanding so far. Whereas Henry's only played one game, and again, not outstanding in that game. But I almost want to keep him just because he could be so good for Somerset. They were away at Durham this week, and I think Henry is. I think he's the more exciting option to keep. He's much lower owned overall in the game too, which makes him a bit more valuable option in my team. So I think I've decided I'm going to go for that second option and go Abbott in for Porter. Again, I could not bring Abbott maybe I leave him out this week, but he's been in such good form, averaging 16 with the ball and also 30 with the bat as well. So I think I've missed out on a lot of points from him so far this season. He's hurt my rank quite a lot, and I don't fancy doing that much more. So after all of that, here are my transfer plans for game week 8. It's going to be George Hill in for Liam Dawson and Carl Abbott in for Porter. I think those are fairly exciting and positive moves, and so hopefully they go well. But we'll see how they do this weekend. I'm quite excited about those actually. Therefore, with those moves, this is my game week 8 team selection. With a quick note, actually, that with this team I'll have 2.5 million in the bank, which is another reason I think Dawson would be a good transfer out, because that's going to be really useful going into this T20 Blast block, which I'll preview later in this week. But we got a month off from county championship, so with the break from that cricket, when the players come back from the T20 Blast and the fixtures start back up in a month, I can have that 2.5 million to account for injuries or squad changes, and I think that could be really helpful when we come back. So looking at my team, batting, Yates might have a tough time at New Road this week, but I'm enjoying having him in my team, and so he stays. Harris fell short last week, but he's in such good nick, I won't be moving him anywhere either. So they stay. Now the third batting spot has gone to Bracey, with Simpson staying behind the stumps in my wicket-keeping slot. It's a close call. Will Sussex pick up 20 wickets against Hampshire, or will Gloucestershire pick up 20 against Northants? It's hard to tell, but I've gone with Simpson this week because he's done it. He's done better in previous weeks in terms of catches, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and that sort of mentality. So I put Bracey in the batting and Simpson in the wicket-keeping position, hoping he'll get some catches. Moving on to the all-rounders, and yet again, the engine room of the team, Holland, Barnard, Proctor and Hill, all in good form, all picking up decent points. Maybe there's one weakness there in Proctor, who's been a little light as of late, but he's still averaging 160 points a game, and he's sub 7 million, opening the batting and the bowling. So I just think there's a lot of value there. He might not be getting quite the same points as other people, but I still think he's really good option. So I'm really happy with the all-rounders, and now with Hill there as well, there's some real promise of some big scores, I think. As for the bowlers, as explained earlier with the transfers, Matt Henry keeps his spot, as I think he's a really exciting prospect, really. He did okay last week, as I mentioned, but I think he's got a lot more to give. And I can see him picking up a lot of wickets this week and after the break too. So he's going to stick around. Exciting stuff from him. Galvin keeps his spot as well. Incredible numbers. He averages nearly 200 points. And so if you don't have him on your side, I would really recommend getting him in. For such a good price, he's effectively an all-rounder. And he's actually one of the best players in my team right now. He's done so well, and he's super cheap. And I think if you don't have him, he's definitely one to look at as a bit of an enabler too. The final spot is taken by Abbott, who I spoke a lot about earlier too. He's a class player in good form. Can't ask for much more. So hopefully he can replicate what he's done over the last couple of weeks for me and keep that form going. So that's the full 11. On the bench, same as last week, Brooks and Farhan Ahmed stay. They're good players, they're good options, but they're not better than any of the players in my starting 11. So I'm happy with them being benched this week. No real worries there. So there we go. Now, final thing, what about captaincy? And this is really, really exciting this week because I've already locked in my double captain. I mean, this seems like the most prime week to use it, and I'm really excited actually. I've got Barnard playing Worcestershire as one of my captains. He's in such good form. He's averaging 70 with the bat and 29 with the ball. And against a still quite struggling Worcestershire side, he could absolutely dominate that game. And the other captain, as you can see, is Ian Holland, averaging 25 with the bat and 15 with the ball against an also struggling Lancashire side. You also might have seen Ian Holland appear on the Cricket Draft's official Game Week 8 preview, and so maybe he's got some fancy points on the mind and will really turn it on this week. But that's I'm not sure about that one, but hopefully. Both of them are in fantastic form. Some of the best players in the county championship right now, and they're both playing teams that are at the bottom of Division 1 and Division 2 respectively. So as for fixture targeting, it doesn't get much better than that. And as for using the chip for players in form, it also doesn't get a lot better either. I mean, I usually wait till quite late in the season to use the double captainship, but I think this is prime opportunity halfway through the season to use it now. It would almost seem rude not to, I think, and I think that's pretty much locked in, barring one of them being rested this week. Uh, this this week, which I can't see happening either, to be honest. So I'm really excited about the double captaincy. Hopefully, it will help me get that green arrow, which I haven't got over the last 3 weeks. I'm really excited about them. Double captaincy. Here we go. So that is it for game week 8. My team selection, my transfers, and what I'm doing for captaincy. It's going to be a really great week. I'm excited to see how it goes alongside the England game. Can't ask for much more. Hopefully I get that first green arrow. So good luck to you all, and I will see you again soon.